early before.
What do you mean?
Hello, everyone. I don't know if I take my sweater off, keep it on. It was so sunny earlier and now it got a little bit cooler. I was going to sit outside with Foxy Cleopatra, but she barks too much. You guys aren't going to want that. So we'll get started in a little bit. All right. I just put in the chat. Hello, everyone. This is my first YouTube live for myself. I've done it for other organizations. So this is going to be fun because I get to be unfiltered. I don't know how well unfiltered will go with everyone. So all that means is I don't do a lot of editing. I just go ahead and jump on and do what it do. I just think it makes it easier. So I see I have one person joining me. Welcome. Is that you? It's my daughter, Dom. Thank you for joining me, Dom. Can you hear me? Okay. Well, no. I mean, can you hear me through the phone? Okay. Yeah, so my name is Roxana. I am hosting from my YouTube page, Unfiltered with Roxy. And today we're going to be talking about the end of year sprint. And how I got the idea was from other creators, the algorithm, all of the things telling me to get stuff done before the end of the year. So I decided to really lean in. And I guess that's why everything is for a reason and a season. I've heard that message before and it really didn't touch me the way it did this year. So we're going to dive in and talk a little bit about that. So welcome. This is my first YouTube live, y'all. And so I'm going to give people a couple of minutes. Or should I just start? I do have one viewer.
I don't think YouTube Live is like that. I don't think it broadcasts 30.
Mhm. And so my daughter Dominique is here with me as well. So we'll probably have a little bit of chat conversation going back and forth. She's watching the chat for me. And today we're going to be talking about affirmations, the end of the year sprint, getting things done before the end of the year. And how I came about that was listening to a few of my favorite YouTubers talking about time management and cleaning out things. My favorite thing to watch and do is watching people declutter and stuff. And even though my home isn't what people would call cluttered, there were things that I wanted to address and change before the end of the year. And I kept procrastinating. So I said, after I kept seeing different creators and I kept seeing different things that just kept speaking to me to stop procrastinating, get things done. And I think I even saw like a remodel home show. And I said, instead of me keep every year saying that this is the year that I'm going to paint my man cave, clean out my basement, I'm going to do it now. And I'm going to get as much done as I can from the end of the year. And that started with a clean out that I also shared on the internet. I did a basement clean out and an office clean out. And with that, I was like, I'm also going to paint my man cave. and I'm going to move my husband's office from the man cave to the room that he was in before. And COVID kind of made us all have to readjust. He gave up the space. So I'm going to make the space his. So I've also decided to do that before the end of the year. And actually, I'm already on my way to doing it. His desk and everything is in there. So I'll talk about that as well. And so we are live. I'm going to go ahead and get started and talk about why the sprint a little bit more. So between work, when I first started this journey of changing my life, doing things the way that would make me happy, I was doing a part-time gig that was 9 to 5, 3 days a week, and it was okay. But what I noticed is in me having to go to that job and prep the days that I wasn't there, trying to get clients, grow my administrative project management business, that I couldn't do all the things I wanted to do the way I wanted to do them, which even included a podcast that I was trying to get up off the ground, and well, two podcasts, because I have one that is Unfiltered with Roxy and Not Vanilla with my daughter. And those were things that I knew were going to fill my soul and that were going to make me happy. So my first transition before the end of the year, I had told myself, I don't want to have to go into the office. I want to make the income I was making at my last job at a nonprofit, but I want to do it with clients. And I was able to replace my income. But now, the end of the year, we're talking about increase. So, with the clients that I have now, growing their brand, growing my income, and then even finding more bigger opportunities so that I can do more and not have to work as hard so I can create more. So, that's the whole thing with the end of the year sprint. And then with my home, I wanted to create spaces that I could do different creative things in and that didn't give me heart palpitations when I walked in the room. Like a lot of times I would walk in the room, especially downstairs, because that was just the dumping ground. I would just dump things there. So the end of the year to me was a deadline. And now that it's already started, it doesn't feel as bad. I have half of the man cave painted. I've already done a clean out of the basement. So it's like I'm on my way, right? I'm on my way to those spaces that I want to remake. And one of the things that I realized is if you really love your home, you have to make time to make it beautiful. You have to make time for the things that you really care about. So I was able to do the clean out pretty easily. And my family had helped me throughout the day, keeping me company. It was only maybe 3 hours, but it is a lot when you're trying to declutter and make the space what you want it to make, because it's a lot of pulling out things, interacting with each item, and making sure that the items are in the space that they're in for a reason and that it feels right. So that was the intention behind me doing 10 things at the same time in my end of year sprint. So, one of the things that I really wanted to dig into today is how to help you transition into a better year for you. You don't have to wait till New Year's. And I always thought that was hokey, just waiting for the new year. But I also fell into that. How many times did I go into a new year saying, well, I'm just going to do my extreme weight loss thing at the beginning of the year? Well, this year I decided, also thanks to the YouTube algorithm, that I would go ahead, and I had kind of been slow walking my change up until I went to a doctor's appointment. And I talk about this in one of my podcasts, and just not having any results and actually having a worse prognosis is like the worst thing that you want to happen when you go to the doctor. So I had decided that, you know what, instead of me playing games and saying, oh, next year I'm going to start being healthy, making sure that I'm working out, I had started with one thing at the beginning of the year, which was make sure that no matter what, I was lifting weights. So with that, it was because I'm a cardio junkie. I would always like do cardio. I loved it. But then it's like if I had to do weights, I wouldn't do it. So now 5 minutes warm up, 10 minutes warm up max. And then I make sure I do my weights. And if I'm good, then I can add a class because that would be my favorite thing to add. So that was my first health change. Then the next health change was, oh crap, I need to seriously stop eating fried stuff, eat more vegetables and fruit. And I tried not to think about all the changes at once. It was just I needed more vegetables and fruit because I knew I wasn't getting enough fiber. I knew I wasn't drinking enough because that's one of the things the doctor had told me when I was there. He said, you know, I don't even think you have a kidney problem, but you're dehydrated, you're pre-diabetic, and your blood pressure is kind of being high. So I knew I did not want to go back to my doctor looking like I didn't care because I do care. I don't want to hear those things about me. So, end of year sprint is losing that the most weight I can in the healthiest way I can because I'm 48. I'm not doing too much anymore. So, one of the things that I am going to do very intensely is walking in the morning and walking at lunch. And I had already started walking at lunch, but fell off of the morning. So I'm going to start back that routine. And I do that with my little Foxy, which she needs to do it anyway. So it's a good motivator. Instead of just letting her outside, I take her for a walk around the block. Midday, I'm not doing it today midday because I'm on here with you. But then midday, I would do a short walk and then I would go to the gym either in the evening or intentionally have another walk because I really want to get 5 miles in every not every day, maybe 5 days out of the 7 days a week. So that was one of the little things that I'm doing to help get this weight off as much as I can before the end of the year. And I'm not doing anything too radical because I know I'm not going to keep that. I started adding in carrots and celery with hummus, and I looked up some recipes on Chat GPT and perfected it. And even my family that I had come over for the sip and paint loved it. So I think if you can think of things that you can add before the end of the year to help you with your sprint, that'll help you so that when the beginning of the year does come and everyone's already into it, you'll already be a little bit ahead and ready to run with that momentum. Because I think it's easier to do it when other people are doing it, but we got to put that work in for ourselves. So, cleaning out the basement, that was one of my goals. Painting my man cave, which I'm halfway today. The other half of my day is going to be spent finishing that up. Decluttering certain spaces. I already did the basement. I did my office. I also want to do the room that I'm moving my husband's office to. So I have about six goals that I'm trying to do at the same time before the end of the year, which is fine. We can do hard things. We just have to make sure that we're doing it in steps that we can do. So I also wanted to get my garden in shape. I have a few of them around the house. And when I say garden, I just mean the beds. So dug up all the weeds from one bed, and I decided that I'm going to use chemicals to help me keep the weeds down. Instead of me every year saying, oh, I have to do better with my garden, I'm going to do better by using chemicals. Yes, I can pull the weeds, but if I know I really want my orchids to look nice and all my flowers to be beautiful when I want to see them, I'm going to have to use chemicals and just be okay with that. Unless I want to pay someone to dig them out. I don't know if I want to do that because I do like gardening, but I don't like the excessive weeds that seems to be going on in them. and making me upset. And I don't need to keep making myself upset. I can just use the things that are already in the universe to help me. So that's with that. Um, and I was thinking about adding to my end of year sprint, connecting with people, but I think I'm going to wait until the beginning of the year with that, because I have to be mindful that I have to make time to spend with people. So if that's a goal, then it's like I have to rearrange some of these other projects that I have going on. And I am going to have that as a priority. I did that, I think 2024, that was one of my priorities. I will pick it up again, but I'm going to get my house in order first, because that's really important to me. And I procrastinated it. And I'm kind of embarrassed because I redid a whole beach house and did not really prioritize doing the man cave that I could have done. It's stuff that I could have been doing all this time. So I'm good with that. So now I want to ask you, what's one thing that you've been putting off that you can do before the end of the year that would make you feel good about it? So if you could put that in the chat. And I see that we have 3 people on. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. So, yes, what is one thing that you've been putting off all year that you can do now that you still want to do? My daughter's laughing at me. Why are you laughing? Yes. So one of the things that's also great about when you're doing these end of year goals is the way you feel afterwards. Like, I remember my daughter had watched, my daughter that's here with me now, she had watched the video of me cleaning out. And I think it inspired her for a couple of reasons. But when she had came in the house and didn't know that I had like this whole project, this whole video going on, she was like, the house did feel different. And I even can say for myself that when I went downstairs in the basement, it wasn't this, oh my gosh, there's stuff everywhere. Why is it this bad? I hate this house. Like, I would say these negative things about my own house because it was just out of control. And her saying that it felt different, it just reminded me, like, yeah, it just felt light. It felt like everything had a place. And it does take a lot of energy, guys. I felt exhausted. I think it was 2 days again before I had decided to do something else. And that's one of the things, we have to make time for the things we really want to do. Even the way that I had made time to start the podcast, I had to redo that again, because at the end of, I would say August, October, I noticed that my schedule was getting overwhelmed. And I always know when it does, when my daughter is like, oh, you're just so busy. And I hate that. I hate being to max capacity where I can't go out with my daughter. I can't do anything because I've let other priorities be the priority. And the priority for me right now at 48 is my health and then my kids. So that just let me know that something was going on with my boundaries and I needed to refocus. So, one of the things about making time is making time to clean up and declutter, but also making time for your fun things. So, one of the fun things for me is doing podcasts, doing my declutter, but in a different way, because even though sometimes you need to do it, like my husband's office thing is not like it gives me a heart attack when I walk in there like I did the man cave, which was just gross. The color was gross, and our fish tank that he has in there. But that's neither here nor there. The problem with the office that is going to be his office is that it was my daughter's old room, which is a Barbie closet. Like, literally her whole room is pink Barbie themed tomfoolery. So that's a fun thing though, like to that I'm going to redo that space I'm going to record it for you to be able to see the blood, sweat, and tears in that. And even the man cave, I've recorded most of what I was doing, because I also realized if it's too much for me to go and edit, you guys will never see it. So I have been doing that a little differently so I can like talk in between doing things, have a reflection. You can see me working on it and keep going. Because there are some things with doing these kind of projects that it's just a pain. Like painting is literally a pain on your shoulder, on your neck. Like after a while, you're cussing and fussing because you're like, why did I even decide to do this? It's still half that needs to be done, because we're human. So I just want it to be like the YouTube videos where you snap the finger and everything's beautiful, but it never happens that way. Anyways, so it's those times during your projects that you have to remember your start. Why did I even want to do this? I wanted to have a space for my kids. Well, first, I didn't want to be disappointed when I saw different clutter piles in the basement. But then for the man cave, I thought, we've already been here almost 15 years. I don't want another 15 years to go by and we didn't use the space because it was my husband's office in there. It was a bike in there that's from my son, but drywall, like it was just a free for all, dump for all. We have to make time for those things. And the reason why is the most important. I wanted to be able to have drinks down there with my girls, drinks down there with my husband, have the fireplace going and just be comfortable. So I think that reason of why I want to sprint so hard for the house is multifaceted, but it's like those are the things that I want to have memories for while I'm getting older. I don't want to just be getting older and just be every Christmas it's a cringe of, oh, well, I can't really use the basement. It doesn't really have enough space. Oh, I wish I could host, which I always make it work, but I want to be able to freely host and do things. And even with my health, I had to decide because I was so borderline. Like, if you would see the things that I'm eating, it's not like, oh, you're eating so bad or you're eating so much, but it clearly was enough for my body to be like, your blood pressure's too high, your sugar's too high. So I had to radically stop. Oh, and that was another thing. I stopped drinking a whole bunch of coffee because I knew it was not good for my kidneys. You can't say you want the change without having to make the sacrifice. And that's one of the things that I realized with having to make those changes and having to really have a deadline on it means I want to have my best self going into the new year. I want to kick a lot of these bad things out and then bring a lot of the good things in. So one of the bad things I had to cut back on was my coffee. And guess what? My son had just got me this beautiful coffee machine and I had to make an adjustment. When I was at my favorite grocery store, I had saw one of my favorite coffees and I was going to buy it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to make lattes every day, which I can make lattes every day, but they're not with half and half and they're with decaf coffee, right? So I had to make an adjustment with my mindset on what I was going to do. Cut the caffeine, drinking a whole bunch more water with lemon, with boiled pineapple water. I just drain out the pineapple skin. Um, and that water has a lot of um, antioxidants in there and something else, bromelain, that makes you detox better. So just adding some things, not everything is a removing. And then even I was just thinking about also my friend D had talked to me about just making some of those changes. So also having people around you that are encouraging you and helping you on your journey, not just being siloed, because it is I think sometimes it's okay to be siloed and not give all your goals, but then sometimes you need that help. Sometimes you need that support, that encouragement. Um, and just keep going. Don't give up on the things that you want to do. If you really want to have a podcast, if you really want to have a YouTube channel, if you really want to have um, work at home, even if it's hard in the beginning, keep doing it and don't give up, because usually when you're about to give up is when your breakthrough is about to be there. So you have to make sure that you keep going. And even with your house, you may have little kids or big kids, little big kids, husband. It might be a time where it looks like it's worse, like it's not getting better with how you're cleaning up, with how things are going in the house. You just have to keep being positive and keep the systems going. One thing I realized even this morning was I have all of Foxy Cleopatra's stuff by the door to help me for when I'm going for a walk. I have my little jackets, my hat, my shoes, everything in one section. But I put her poop bags in the washroom. And that sounds funny, right? Except when you're gone down the street and your dog decides to poop on your neighbor's grass. And guess what? You didn't have the bags because you didn't think to replace it because the bags were in a different place. So even this morning, I had to readjust and put the bags where I can get them. That way, it's like it makes sense and it makes it less friction. So that way, I won't be like, oh, I had to go for a walk with this dog. And it's like those are some of the things that make us have a cringe response to things that are in general good for us. So remove that as a friction sometimes. Who requested you to pop in?
Good job.
Who requested you to pop in? You said somebody requested you. Well, do you want to sit down and talk for a little bit about your
Now
sprint?
they need to look at the other one. Oh, about my end of the year sprint.
Yeah, because we'll be doing a live next week. My daughter and I have a podcast, Not Vanilla, and I'm really excited because we did a revamp. Even though she wasn't happy about the revamp, I think she will be happy once she sees how much more tomfoolery we can get into. She's not really into a lot of tomfoolery. I kind of do more of the tomfooleriness. She likes to be structured, to be organized. So, yeah. All right. So, if you like the content of the live, I'm going to try to do the Wellness Wednesday at least once a month. So that way, if people have questions, if you need encouragement, it's kind of a live interaction that we can do as a community, because this is a support system. Think about all the negative things that you may hear throughout the day on the news, at your workplace, even in your own family. That's why you have to curate your YouTube, your Instagram, your TikTok with positive things for your mind, for your heart, for your soul, for your relationship. So that really is Unfiltered with Roxy. Just being able to be free and talk and share and discuss the things that, people don't really want to talk about. People really don't want to show that their house is messy, or that they procrastinated for years with their man cave, or let their garden get out of control instead of just buying something that could easily have helped them. And I think as we grow the community and help each other even more, we will have our own affirmations that we share. I have a series that I'm doing all of this week because why not? I figured I have some extra time and I want to help the world in an impactful way. And one of the ways is affirmations, what we say to ourselves, what we say out loud to ourselves, in our mind, out loud, and to other people can really change energy, situations. So check that out. And I hope this live helped you, and I'll see you again. Bye.